I yield and now recognize the gentle lady from Texas, the ranking member, Ms. Jackson Lee.
Mr. Chairman, thank you so much for your courtesies, and thank you to my colleagues that are here, Ranking Member Nadler, Congresswoman McBath, Congresswoman Dean, and we are pleased that the District of Columbia Representative Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes Norton is present today. Make as many efforts to hear her voice. Let me be very clear. We're in the midst of disarray. We have no speaker. And for those of you who watch Democrats come in, we're in a very serious caucus meeting, which is our responsibility. So please forgive us for any short delay that you may have seen. It is no offense intended. And the first thing I want to say is to those who've been victims of crime, that there is no greater responsibility for those of us in Congress, those of us in local government, those of us who will lead cities, and those of us who lead cities, to realize that our people, the people there, are our greatest responsibilities. I want to be a problem solver and a crime fighter. And so having lived here even before I was a member of Congress and enjoyed the blessings of being a resident of the District of Columbia or working in the District of Columbia, I can assure you I have a great affection for this city, separate and apart from its historic responsibility or role as the capital of the United States, which I tell all of my elementary school children about how important Washington is. But I do want to say that we need to be serious about what has happened to you as a victim. And my colleagues seem to want to exaggerate not your injury and the fear, but the idea that we were also attacked on January 6, 2021, when there were no voices from my friends on the other side of the aisle about the violence that came into the city, and no interest in voting for the commission that we were trying to put forward. So I want to make sure that when this hearing gets through that we have solutions for you, and that we either work with federal funds, which I know that your member is working on. But as I do so, let me be very clear, this is a challenging moment. We embrace our victims. We want them to be, in essence, never victims again, but protected in the status that they're in. But in the record, I must place that 10 cities that employed the most police officers per capita in 2022, Washington, D.C., 542.91 per 100,000. Doesn't need residents. Doesn't mean not more are needed. It means we need to work together. The 10 cities that spent the most on policing per resident in 2022, Washington, D.C., number one, $751.62 per person. So we need to find a way to get to the core of the violence, the violent criminals off the street. This uptick in crime is concerning, not only for the residents who call this city home, especially in the areas of the city that bear the brunt of the most violence, but also for the millions of visitors who come to experience its rich history, culture, its warmth, and important political institutions. That's why I hope we will have a genuine discussion today that focuses on solutions. We can't win by finger pointing. We are in the midst of finger pointing now, and we have no speaker. It is essential that Congress prioritize the safety and security of those who live, work, and visit the district by ensuring that federal government, we must do our part. And I am a big believer in federal resources matching local resources for your safety. The District of Columbia is unique in many ways, and one of them is the complex relationship it shares with the federal government. While its status as the nation's capital brings many benefits, it also brings many challenges. We're in here every day as guests, but we also create an extra financial burden. In combating violent crime, the District of Columbia has taken a multifaceted approach that includes passing emergency legislation supported by the mayor that filled in gaps in pretrial detention procedures for violent criminals. You're holding more of these criminals now, bolstering law enforcement programs and recruitment, implementing community policing initiatives, and instituting a juvenile curfew in certain hotspots. And we know that we have to work with juveniles. We know they're in the midst of juveniles going forward into the 20s. are those who are in the mix, and those in the late 20s are the ones with mostly the gun violent incidences. We understand that. So enhancing the use of technology such as CCTV cameras to combat crime. Additionally, the district has focused on crime prevention strategies such as increased investment in youth programs, education, job opportunities for at-risk individuals. It doesn't help you to say that there is a crime wave across America. Every city has to take responsibility, and I realize that because people are in pain. But the district's response to any type of crime, whether violent or not, can be complicated by overlapping jurisdictions and responsibilities between local and federal law enforcement. I want to find a smoother way of finding that common ground that they can work together along with your distinguished member of Congress. We know that the federal government's presence in the district, while providing unique opportunities for collaboration, also creates challenges. We want to, for instance, despite the obvious needs for agencies from both governments to work together and share information vital to public safety, like the identity of an individual suspected of committing multiple robberies, communication between the two agencies or entities can be stymied by legal red tape. Let's stop that. That's why it's crucial for Congress to ensure coordination and communication among the multiple agencies that possess jurisdiction over different areas of the criminal justice system. I hope our witnesses today will offer solutions, establish greater coordination and cooperation between the local and federal law enforcement. We must also consider the resources required to combat violent crime. Get violent criminals off the street is what we all should collectively want to do. Wraparound services and helping those who can get out of the criminal mindset, get them away from this and you don't see them again. Let's not eliminate that opportunity. Let's deal with mental health services that may also be engaged. Both the local and federal governments must continue to allocate sufficient funding, investment, resources for law enforcement agencies, crime prevention programs, community initiatives, and if, as they perceive, the local government, the needs for additional law enforcement officers. Public safety. Helping to strengthen these vital institutions will support the district's ability to address the underlying causes of violent crime. I spoke with the U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia, Matthew Graves, who lives in the district, loves this city, and will have the same impact on him as any other person that may be subject to the acts of a violent criminal. He is using every tool that he has available to address violent crime, including carjackings, robberies, as well as a flow of illegal guns in the city from states from Virginia and Georgia. I did not hold up on the inquisition that I gave of him yesterday in a very lengthy conversation. He assured me that they are at a point where 90% of the individuals arrested for the most serious violent crimes, which are homicide, carjacking, rape, and assault with intent to kill, are being prosecuted. He also noted that a significant decrease in number of cases that his office chooses not to prosecute after inheriting a decline rate of 70%. He is working to get rid of that number and to prosecute cases. So there is a stitching together and a work, but we must do a lot to help move forward the crime lab, get it on its feet, and get it where it is moving cases forward. We can be helpful in that, and I hope the Congresswoman will allow us to be helpful or to instruct us how best to do that. As Democrats continue to offer solution after solution to make all American communities safer to work, it is important that we rid the streets of illegal firearms. Let's not make light of that. Hold offenders accountable, address the root causes of violence, such as poverty and housing instability and addiction. And Republicans have yet to join us on all of these issues. We can't just point the finger. We've got to work on all of them. The surge in violent crime in the district is a problem. I want to hug every victim, but I would like to say, I don't want you to be a victim. I don't want victims in Houston, Texas. I want to make sure that we get to this point where we live safely in the nation and in our communities, so we can establish stronger partnerships, sharing information, and as well, making sure that we are together as not only Washingtonians, that we are now, but as Americans. Mr. Chairman, I'm yielding a second to Congressman Eleanor Holmes Norton. I'm yielding you a moment just to comment on the record. You're going to yield to her? All right.
She will be yielded time.
She'll be yielded. I just wanted to make sure. Thank you so very much. Thank you, Chairman, Ranking Member Nadler. By establishing this ability to work together, My goal here is to sit here and listen to you with respect, and my mind will be calculating how we continue to work with you, your mayor, your law enforcement, your Washingtonians, your excellent member of Congress, and the federal government to do what we're supposed to do, which is to ensure the national safety of the American people. With that, I yield.